3, 2, 1, Tellwise!
Thank you for that. Thank you. My name's Conrad. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Tellwise. I'm a little bit of a startup junkie, so I've been doing this for quite some time. I had a startup that I started back in 2000 that Microsoft acquired in 2005. That's what brought me to the beautiful Northwest. I'm Canadian, so if you hear any odd accents, that's why. Yeah. Hooray! Yes. I did tour duty with Microsoft for about 6 years. Had a lot of fun with that. In fact, a lot of technical people in the room. I was general manager of Active Directory for a bunch of time. It was a great honor to, that's a heavily used piece of technology. I had a team of about 300 engineers. That was a lot of fun. But after about a 6-year tour of duty, decided that it was time for me to go back and do what I love, which is startups, and founded Tellwise. I'll spend a little bit of time talking about sort of the philosophy of how I sort of focused on what I wanted to do with the company. And my previous company was bootstrapped. This one's venture funded. So I'll try to leave a little bit of time. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs in the room. If you want to talk about the zen of startups and sort of what's the best way to go, bootstrapping versus venture, happy to talk about that, as opposed to the details of sort of what we're doing. The problem that Tellwise is really focused on is really focused on getting the clicker to work. is making it easier for people across organizational boundaries to essentially collaborate. We spend a lot of time talking to enterprise salespeople. This is kind of B2B kind of stuff. This is a hard problem. We're all very, very busy in our lives today in terms of all the various channels that we need to deal with. Email, we get tons of email every single day. The usefulness of email seems to be declining as marketing automation systems get more sophisticated. We're just getting jammed with more and more stuff. And the right result is this. We all kind of live here, right? We get frustrated with our inboxes. It's just overflowing with stuff, and we don't want to spend any time there. And this is particularly hard for the salesperson because this is one of their primary sources of, or one of their primary communication channels. This is also hard. Who answers the phone where you don't know exactly who it is that's calling you? People are extremely good at screening calls, and that's for good reason because we don't get bothered by things that might be a waste of time. This makes things very, very difficult for our customer because they spend a lot of time in email trying to figure out how they connect to their buyers. So I'm actually a technical guy. I have an engineering background. My previous company was a very technical company, and I've spent the last 2 years essentially learning about enterprise salespeople. And if there's one lesson that I've learned about startups, it's absolutely know your customer. Immerse yourself with them, live with their pain. I've been on inside sales floors. There was a great conversation earlier about spending time with your customer. I agree with that wholeheartedly. So we've spent a lot of time on that, and essentially the solution that we've come up with is to make email more interactive. We have created a technology that we call smart messages. Essentially, it's a combination of email, instant messaging, social, and analytics. The analytics piece is important because sellers want to know when they send you an email, what did you do with it? Did you forward it? Did you look at it? How much time did you spend on it? So we give them lots of information in terms of what you actually do with that email. And as soon as you start to interact with it, they can interact with you in real time, think instant messaging, without any application dependencies, even on mobile. So the way the software actually works is we create a real-time landing page associated with every email message that you send. That landing page can be used for interactive communication. So massively scalable back end is essentially what we've had to build to make this thing actually work. But we make a notable difference for the lives of our customers, that frontline seller who's trying to engage with that customer. So it's really about our technology is really about helping business people to communicate more efficiently. We've got lots and lots of communication channels available to us today. How can we use some of the existing tools like email and just make them more efficient? That's really what the technology is all about. We spent a lot of time understanding the usage patterns of our customers, and I mentioned sort of that inside sales floor, understanding how these guys operate day in, day out, and really making them more efficient. And another interesting thing that we've done is we've also focused on the buyer side. If you've ever been on the receiving end of a sales-oriented email, how do we make the experience better for you when you do in fact engage, and we can create a sort of a real-time, very, very personalized experience for the buyer. Boop, boop. I won't spend a lot of time on this for obvious reasons. I'll leave us some time for some questions. One of the things that we did though is spend a lot of time understanding the workflow of our customers, and I won't spend a lot of time on that. Suffice to say that one of the hardest problems that every startup on the planet has is how do you insert yourself? How do you create a new destination in your customer's life? And every startup that's been up here has this problem, and pretty much every startup to come has it as well. And one of the tricks is making sure that you can insert yourself in the most frictionless way, where your value proposition gets pulled through in a way that doesn't require that buyer to do anything particularly new. And we spent a lot of time thinking about that problem. How do we integrate into the email experience as an example? And it was probably a year and a half of learning there, but things are going well. We are a venture-funded company, growing fast. I will put the hiring pitch in. We are absolutely hiring and love to talk to anybody that's interested in joining us. But with that said, I'll leave it open for some questions. I'm willing to take it on this whole range in terms of bootstrapping, venture, whatever it might be. Go ahead. So it's I gotta finish what I'm doing this time to really give you an answer. I think it depends heavily on the kind of customer that you're going after. So my first company had a very specialized customer. It was banking, pharmaceuticals, and very large deals. So we could fund the company based on the size of the deals that we got. And that was actually in the days when there was perpetual licenses and maintenance fees. We could actually fund the company in maintenance fees. If you can do that, don't take external money. If you need to scale quickly, it's a different story. So this space we're in now is very, very crowded, and grabbing market share is part of the game. You look at box.com, they spend $1.50 to make $1, but investors seem to be happy to give them money because it's all about grabbing market share. So it really does depend on your buyer. I wish I could give you a more concrete answer, but it depends on your buyer. Any other questions? Great. Yeah, great question. So to paraphrase, essentially what percentage of mail is being consumed on mobile these days? We crossed a threshold statistically about 2 or 3 months ago where in the enterprise more than 50% of email is now consumed on mobile. So it's massive. What that means is we had to build a mobile app much faster than we thought we would have to, which required some what we believe was smart engineering. So I'll just tell you how we built the thing. Our app is heavily responsive, so it works across any device just based on the mobile app. And then we were able to write a wrapper with PhoneGap that works wonderfully across iPhone, iOS, even Windows Phone. And it gets us the penetration. It's not great. You can do much better with native, but at our stage, we're 9 guys in a dream, 9 people in a dream. You got to be efficient. So yeah, mobile's become a key element for us for sure. Any questions? Yep, the one from Microsoft? The one from Microsoft? Right, they've got their own mailbox app. Yep. Right. It's a great question. The key thing is the focusing on the specific customer. So when you look, and I jumped over the slide actually, when you think about the specifics of the requirements of a sales professional, they need to do things like run campaigns, the analytics piece. There's a lot of things that we do that those apps that are they're nice apps, don't get me wrong, but they don't provide that kind of insight back to the seller. And they don't make email real time. One of our real innovations has been making email real time. You can like a lot of clients say, like Gmail for example, you've got chat, but the recipient needs to basically subscribe to Gmail chat. We've taken that friction out. When you can't have that with a buyer-seller relationship, right? Any friction for the buyer, they're gone. So one of our innovations was to remove that piece of friction. But it's a great question. One thing those apps have done is they've raised the bar in terms of the UI experience. They're awesome. So our poor designers look at this and go, oh my God, you expect me to do that? And well, yeah, we do. They're definitely a competitor. So there's a class of competitor that are essentially email trackers. Yes, we're a tout. So we do that. We will tell you everything that happens to the email. The difference is when the customer interacts with the email, we give you that real-time channel of a customer that those platforms don't have. So my standard response is, so when you know somebody opened your email, then what? And we're the then what. I also sometimes, when I'm being derogatory, I call them, that's old school, read receipts. It's not, I don't typically do that with customers.
Last question.
One more? No, it's okay. You're a customer. Yep. So we do very well there, and the reason is because the percentages, I won't say it's 100% because I'd be lying. You're always going to have some stalwarts that want to do things the way they want to do things. Yeah, I get you. So those guys are not going. No matter what I do, they're not going to use it. The reality is we make the engagement easier for them. So things like CRM adoption, which you probably know about, very hard to do and requires a hammer on behalf of the manager. We don't have that problem because we actually make you more efficient. We allow you to send messages faster. We tell you what's happening with those messages. When your customers engage, we allow you to engage with them in real time online. That allows you to sell more. So it's just simple math. So generally our adoption rate is pretty good. Again, it's not perfect.
Thank you, Conrad.